Hey, what's going on, guys? So, in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to build and scale a profitable AI marketing agency. So, the principles I'm going to be going through are literally the actionable steps that I followed in order to scale up my own AI marketing agency. And it's also the same steps that multiple of my students have followed in order to scale up their own offers as well. So, without further ado, we're going to jump into it. But before we get into it, I do have a quick note for you guys, especially for the viewers that watch a lot of my videos. I'm actually going to be hosting a live webinar. Both myself and a fellow six-figure online marketer we're going to be co-hosting this together. It's going to be about a 90-minute session, in which case we're going to do a deep dive on how to set up an online business, specifically like an AI marketing agency, talk about all the principles that will apply. There's going to be tons of sauce dropped, and there's also going to be a Q&A section. So if you want free access to me for this limited time, go and check out the link down below. It'll have the details on the date, when it is. All you have to do is register, and then you'll be hit with reminders for the actual date of the seminar. And again, it's completely free. No strings attached. At the very least, register, and we hope to see you there. Okay, cool. So when it comes to building a profitable AI agency, there's a few pillars that come to mind when it comes to both your own service delivery, landing your clients, and also delivering for your services. So the first is going to be media buying or ads. So for the sake of you running your service delivery, more long game, it's going to be creating a media buying team, right? I'm going to touch on this from high level, then we're going to dive into it. Just bear with me for a second. The next is going to be a sales team. Of course, you need sales in order to generate revenue. Next is going to be a project manager and making sure that your service delivery is very uniform, optimized, so you're not having to waste time, setting up a build for a client that should have taken, a couple hours, ends up taking a couple days just because you don't have good communication with the rest of the team. And then we have our developers, of course. It's funny because I've actually recently got rid of some of my developers because AI is getting so good that it's helping offload a lot of the service delivery. Future video on that, on how I'm going about setting that up. Oh, and then we also have the funnel building team as well. So, especially when we're building out, because this is a marketing agency after all. Yes, it's an AI marketing agency. The AI component in here is really just like an appointment setter aspect, right? But the funnel builder is going to be so important to get our data collection done. So whenever we're trafficking leads over from ads, we pitch them over to the funnel, data collection, so our AI is able to actually reach out on SMS, email, all that good stuff. So we're going to talk about this from a top down. So throughout all of these, I'm first going to talk on behalf of if you're a beginner and then kind of go into, okay, cool, you've built it, now you're scaling. So when it comes to you getting your own clients, ads is going to be a great way to buy attention, especially if you don't have a social brand, you don't have any presence. The reality of your situation is you're probably going to have to do some cold calling. You're probably going to have to do some scrappy stuff. Obviously, it's not going to be longevic, it's not going to be scalable. But when you're at level zero, you have to do things that may not be the sexiest. And one of them is going to be cold calling. That being said, though, if you do have some buying power, meaning at least a couple $1,000s laying around, ads is going to be the name of the game because you pay for your attention. You can sit around and wait for the leads to come to you. And another great part about this too, as far as ads, is that we hold a lot more authority when leads come to us and inquire from our ads, right? There's a bit of a sales psychology behind that. But ultimately, what I'm getting at is launching lead ads, launching website schedule ads, book a call funnel ads, all these things to try to generate attraction to your offer is really how you're going to be able to scale. I can't tell you a single successful client that's not running paid ads, meaning everyone's running paid ads for their offer. It's the way to scale accurately. And, at the end of the day, this is marketing. A lot of it is just math and being able to analyze statistics and realize if it's going to be a good positive return on ad spend or if it's a shitty ad and you need to retire it and, start at square one and build out a new creative or maybe edit your offer, right? I could sit here and talk about funnel building. I've got a ton of videos on my page that talk about how to properly run ads. So definitely go check out some of those after this video. To specifically speak on now, building out a media buying team, what this is going to look like is essentially having someone that's running your meta ads for you or running your Google ads for you or running your LinkedIn ads for you. Again, it's going to depend on what your services are. For me and my company, we run ads on Instagram and Facebook. Sometimes we do Meta, sometimes we do Google, but our bread and butter is typically going to be Instagram and Facebook. So when I think media buying team nowadays, granted, media buying teams are changing a lot in the sense that years ago they meant a lot more than they do today. Nowadays, it's literally just a guy that's a point of contact for the sake of monitoring. It's funny because I'm even building out an OpenClaw instance, which is offloading my media buying team because OpenClaw is able to do all the analytics for me and do all the messaging to the clients and reports to the clients. So it's funny because even in my business, like I've been able to really lean down and reduce a lot of my team overhead by having AI do a bunch of this like simplistic work. However, the one benefit to maintaining like a human media buyer on your team is going to be is pretty much going to be to do creative testing, to build out new creatives for you. That's something that's invaluable. That in script writing, I feel like AI isn't smart enough to understand human psychology yet when it comes to sales. So when it comes to creating ads, you're going to need some sort of human intervention. And let's say you're doing like AI UGC ads, you're still going to want to like make sure that the script is valid instead of just having AI shit you out a script and hope that works. So, where can you find a media buyer? I don't recommend hiring in a first world country for something like this just because it's a pretty straightforward job at face value. That being said, as a marketing agency, once you start to incorporate other moving parts like building out funnels, building out ad creatives, building out an AI appointment setter, setting up the CRM, then it's going to become like a whole elaborate scheme. But at face value, just a media buyer, I recommend you hire from Upwork or hire someone from overseas because a big part of what they're going to be doing is just doing creative testing, setting up creatives. If you do have a social brand or if one of your clients you're working with does is okay with putting their face out there, I highly recommend you get some videos of them as well because those convert really well from what I've seen. But yeah, so the media buying team, they're essentially going to be your top of funnel, both for yourself to generate your traction, but also for your clients to traffic leads over into our funnel, into our CRM, to be appointment setted by leads, to be appointment setted by AI appointment setter, or if you're going a more traditional SMMA route, not having AI, you're going to funnel all this ad traffic over to the sales team for them to procure, dial up leads, and try to close them, right? So I'm going to go in the order of operations real quick. So I know we have funnel building last, but honestly, if you can imagine, okay, we're running ads. Now, where are we putting that ad traffic? Enter the funnel building team. So they're going to be in charge of procuring all of the traffic that we get and actually converting them into book sales calls, into data collection points, all that good stuff. So what this is going to entail, I usually recommend doing like a four-step funnel. So initial opt-in page, VSL, calendar page, and then thank you page. Thank you page to confirm their call. If there's any pre-call information as well. But when we're running ads, it's imperative that we have a form of data collection. Otherwise, we're not owning our data. So, we're essentially just incinerating money, giving it to Meta, hoping we get a book call here and there. But I've seen as far as playing the long game, collecting emails, collecting phone numbers is going to be a lot more valuable, especially if you have a back end nurture system to where maybe a lead that inquires today isn't ready to go. But if we're continuing to hammer them with emails, different assets or lead magnets with some more value, we're texting them. You either have a human appointment setter or an AI appointment setter, qualify them, have conversations with them, try to book them in as well. That's going to be your best chance at having a profitable ad campaign. And so a funnel is so necessary to complement that. So with a funnel building team or even just a funnel builder, this is not a hire you want to cheap out on because some funnel builders honestly just do dog shit. The reality of the situation is not everyone is an artist. And with funnel building, this is one of those skills that's a bit of an art form. Granted, you can use Lovable. You can use Lovable. You can use Claude. There's so many different softwares out there that can help facilitate building out a funnel. Although I still recommend having like an actual human to make those tweaks. If you ever built out a lovable funnel before or a lovable website in general, usually it's not going to be perfect on your first prompt. You got to reprompt it. You got to make some tweaks to it. Especially if you're adding points of data collection, there's now some backend stuff you have to manage as far as okay, where are we routing this data to, all that good stuff. So highly recommend a funnel builder. I personally pay my funnel builder like $400 per build, and that's a pretty competitive rate. I hired him from Upwork. So again, pretty much with all this talent today, I recommend going on Upwork for. It's going to be the most straightforward way because all you have to do is pay for a couple credits, post a job, and you will have people flocking with you. Especially if you put like go high level in the title for like SEO purposes, you're going to get a lot of applicants, and from there you just kind of sift through and see which one's viable, take a couple interviews, and then roll with them. And another scope of work you can have the funnel builder do is assist with copy as well. So, to give you an idea, when I work with a new client for the first time, and this is going to be super important for the entire synergy of the team, is we build out what's called an executive summary, and it has all the business information. We have all of our email copy, SMS copy, our funnel copy. Everything as it relates to the business is in this centralized location that the entire team can manage, and the entire team, more importantly, can reference. So the funnel builder understands what our ad creatives are looking like, what our messaging on the ads are looking like, so he can build a complementing funnel that's congruent with the offer, right? And the same goes for, with roles reversed with the ads team. If they know how our funnel is going to be set up and how it's going to be scripted, then it's going to be more straightforward on how they need to create some new ads in the future, right? So Okay, so at this point, we've gone over the media buying and actually generating the attention. And then with all that attention, we're trafficking over to our funnels in order to data collect them. So cool, we've data collect them. The next step is going to be setting up the actual AI build. Sales team will do less. Is going to be the actual AI build. So when I think AI dev team, what this is referring to in my use case and in most AI marketing agencies' use cases is going to be AI appointment setters, AI sales agents, AI customer success agents, people conversing with these leads, conversing with this traffic. The reality of the situation here, I'll pull up a quick visual for you guys. This is a quick diagram just to kind of show you like how a traditional funnel is usually set up. So imagine the ad traffic we're generating, we're pushing them over to our initial opt-in page, data collecting them, pushing them over to a video sales letter to compel them about our offer, explain a few things about it, objection handling, frequently asked questions, promote them to a sales call. So this is how most marketers, most social media marketers run their funnels. Now, really, where this AI piece and why AI developers are important on setting up any sort of marketing offer when you're running ads is to assist in the back end nurturing of leads, especially at scale. It's going to be so important you have this. Now, the type of businesses that most AI marketing agencies like myself work with aren't going to be startups, aren't going to be smaller fish, right? Because at that point, I would almost recommend just have a human, do that work because it's pretty straightforward if you're only having a couple leads come through the door a day. However, the type of businesses that have hundreds of leads each month coming through the door, it's going to be very challenging for a traditional appointment setter to keep up. And then you also have the worry of them turning over. Maybe they call in sick. They're not going to be working 24/7. Speed to lead may be inconsistent. They may have a bad day, things like this, right? However, with an AI model, as soon as you've trained it and taught it what it needs to do, it doesn't skip a beat. It's always consistent. Even down to the follow-ups. It's literally like just timing intervals in the back end. So it shoots. It's a straight shooter. And so the idea is with all of our opt-in, of course, all of these opt-ins are not going to be converted into sales calls. And so that's really where the AI appointment setter, the AI backend of the sales agents acts to shine. It's to inquire, it's to reach out, follow up, and nurture all the leads that showed interest but didn't make it to that end objective of booking a sales call. And if we just quickly follow these numbers, imagine we get 1,000 page views and we convert 10% of them over to our landing page. So we've data collected 100 people at this point. Realistically, again, in marketing, maybe we only get 15% of those leads to book in with us on their own. That's 15 leads. What about the other 85? So that's where the AI would then follow up with them, try to have a conversation with them, and attempt to appointment set those additional 85 guys that would have otherwise just dropped off. Now, let's say we convert an additional 10% of this page views. So we now got an additional 10 people to book in with a new lump sum total of 25 bookings. So it really just allows you to make the most of the leads that we're paying for from ads. So I often tell people, it's like, hey, this AI system that I'm building out for you will literally allow you to book more appointments without you having to inherently just increase ad spend in order to do that, because we're going to make the most of the leads we have. Whereas before you were compensating by just increasing ad spend to hit that same threshold. So going back to the AI dev team now, once again, an Upwork hire, easy money, especially if you're using like Go High Level for a lot of your builds. Honestly, hell, not even Go High Level. If you're using N8N, if you're using Make.com, even if you want to do something really advanced, build something proprietary, use Claude Code, maybe use OpenClaw, pretty much anything. You can easily find a dev for it right now. It's funny. I used to work for a software company before I started this marketing agency, and I was a software consultant, not an engineer. And really, all that meant is, yes, I had technical background, yes, I could code, but I was like the client-facing person talking with the American clients. We were relaying all of the development work to our team in India. So it's kind of a similar model here where you can get developers to do a lot of the groundwork and setting up these builds for you. And especially when you're scaling, you need to be focused on sales and marketing. You need to be focused on achieving your next few clients. And so it's going to be good to have an AI developer or a fleet of AI developers that are doing the actual groundwork, so the service delivery and clicking through the automations, making sure the API calls are synced and set up. Because although this work is important, it can take a lot of time. And as a CEO, a founder of the business, this isn't something you can afford to like tax all your time with. Okay, cool. So we got the media buying, funnel building, and now the AI development team that's going to be setting up the AI that's going to inquire with all the leads that come from our funnel. Next is going to be a PM, and the PM project manager is essentially just in charge of managing and delegating the dev team, right? And the funnel building team, honestly, hell, and even the media buying team. A PM is something where I would consider having like a domestic hire, just because the project manager is intended to be client facing. Like I said, when I was a software consultant, they hired me, an American, to talk with our American clients. However, all the work was low key being done in the back end by our devs. Same concept here. So you want someone that's personable. It's going to help if they have some tech lingo, but this is going to be the guy that's going to be talking with your leads or talking with your clients rather that you've already closed. And even on sales calls, I found this to be pretty neat when you're talking with clients like, yeah, I'm going to assign you your own PM. This is his name or this is her name. They're going to be, making sure that you're completely taken care of. Go to them if you have any questions. So that's going to be the idea there. A very, very good hire. This is probably one of the last hires that you would make out of everything I'm gonna be going over today. I say that because up until, like, you're, like, stupid profitable, I wouldn't recommend getting a PM just yet, because the reality is you'll probably be the PM for everything, right? Until you get too many clients, that's where you'd hire one, or another term for this is customer success or client success manager as well, CSM. That's a pretty trendy term. But anyways, so that's gonna be the idea there. And then last but very much not least is going to be your sales team. Now, sales team, honestly, it really depends where you're at with things. I recommend if you're just starting out, it could be worthwhile to put in some reps, taking some sales calls of your own, because there is, of course, going to be a lot of benefit and transparency if you, the founder, are hopping on the call. I know we do AI appointment setters. One thing that I really don't enjoy building is voice AI appointment setters. They're not all there yet. They're still a little bit inconsistent. There's still a lot of margin for error. The AI sales agents that I build for my clients is all messengers because we've spent 2 years at this point bulletproofing these conversation flows to where they really think they're talking to a human. We have wait stages. Let's say a lead hits us up at 3 a.m. for whatever reason. Our AI build isn't going to respond to them until 7:45 a.m. the next day, intentionally so the lead thinks they're talking to a real person because that goes a long way with sales rapport. And getting this like realism in an AI conversation is just not there yet with dialers. That being said, a human dialer is going to be a very significant guy to have on your sales team for any of the leads that are coming from ads, any of the hot leads, hell, even the ones that are conversing with AI actively. You might as well have the guy call them up. One thing I always say is like my most successful clients are the ones that rely on us to build out the sales funnel, to traffic the leads, and to have all the messaging channels automated. And then the way we do our lead scoring with the AI who's having conversations with leads, it's like all the hot leads are subject to getting called by the human appointment setter to book them over to a sales guy, to book them over to a sales call. And once it becomes time to scale, you're going to want to get a closer, and this is someone that hops on the sales calls for you and closes them. To kind of give you an idea of kind of industry average, a closer is usually going to make 10% commission. Appointment setter is usually going to make 5% commission, and it is very, very common nowadays for you to hire commission only, no base, no training fee, no training bonuses or anything. Granted, you do what you want. Like I personally like to give my team bonuses because I want to keep them around and I don't want to waste time or waste a few months training a guy just for him to turn over. That being said, though, like if you tell someone they're going to get 5% comms or 10% comms for closing, 5% for appointment setting, that's a very fair competitive rate, assuming you have a high ticket offer, of course. But yeah, I mean, the sales team is going to be the lifeblood of, this entire operation. Of course, the ads are going to generate the leads. The funnel is going to data collect the leads so we know they exist and we now have them in our ecosystem. The AI devs are going to make sure that we're actually greenlighting our conversations and nurturing. But the sales team is going to be the thing that ties this all together and actually collects the payment. Because what do we do once we get paid? We're running back to ads, baby. As soon as we get money, as soon as we get liquidity back from our ad campaign, we're reinvesting in ads, and that's how you scale. I don't recommend off the bat just continuing to aggressively increase your budget until you've closed some clients and actually have realized cash collected. And I know just because a client says they're interested or says this and that, I've been burned one too many times in this game to know at this point that anytime someone tells you something or promises you something, maybe you send a proposal, the job is never fucking finished until that Stripe invoice hits, right? So, assuming that Stripe invoice hit, either you closed them on the sales call or maybe your closer closed them on the sales call, then we can reinvest into ads. So I know I went through a lot. So just from a high level, as far as scaling your AI marketing agency, this is the team delegation you need, guys. You need a media buyer or a fleet of media buyers to help with running your ads for you to generate your own attention. It's funny because how a lot of this model is set up for you to get your clients is directly applicable for how to get your clients. It's funny. It's a bit of a paradox, but media buying team to buy attention for yourself or for your clients, funnel builder to data collect that lead and that attention and actually realize it into leads within our Go High Level CRM or whatever CRM you're using. And again, this applies for both ourselves and our clients. AI developers to optimize the AI sales agent flows and conversations so all our leads are getting proper nurtures. We're doing email drip sequences, SMS drip sequences, we're having constant touch points. Highly recommend setting up a really long newsletter as well, just to make sure that, if the lead does decide to move forward several months from now, we are the company they go with because we're at the top of their mind. A PM to manage all the moving parts and the chaos, especially when you start to land more clients. A big bottleneck is going to be delivering to your clients, or listen to this compliant client complain about this, or this compliant yell about that. So having a PM kind of help facilitate some of that will, one, make your comms way better, and subsequently two, because your comms are better, you're going to have better client satisfaction. And finally, the sales team. This is really what ties it together. So you can turn around, reinvest into ads, reinvest into better talent, maybe a better PM, better funnel builder, better devs, all this good stuff. Anyways, guys, I hope you found some value in this. I try to keep stuff at a pretty high level because I know we have some beginners that watch this. We have some advanced people that watch this. However, once again, I am hosting a live webinar with a fellow six-figure marketer. So if you are interested in that, it's completely free. Again, I'm going to leave the time and date and registration link to that right down below in the description. So go check that out and register. We have a ton of value planned. Me and my co-host have spent weeks at this point setting everything up for you guys. So the whole point is to provide some genuine fucking value in this, right? There's going to be a Q&A section as well. So if you've ever been trying to get a hold of me, this would be the time to do so. So yeah, guys, hope you found some value in this video. I hope to see you on our upcoming seminar. And on that note, I'll see y'all in the next video.